Good evening, everybody. Well, probably not a good evening, but welcome everybody to Not Another Rangers podcast. I'm your host, Gary. This is a special Sunday night edition of the Not Another Rangers podcast as we review, dissect, discuss, debate, and maybe a bit disillusioned with today's result where Celtic beat Rangers 3-1 in the League Cup semi-final. A lot to discuss in terms of the decisions around the lineup, decisions around the referee, decisions around people not being able to score when they're through one-on-one numerous times in the course of the game. So we will try and cover it all over the next wee while. So we are on tonight because Scott is away to New York on early as a Tuesday morning. So it's not your usual. This is your replacement instead of a Monday night episode. So we're on tonight, not on tomorrow night, just so everybody knows. So welcome for joining us, whoever knows we're actually here. If you don't, you'll get us during the week, obviously. So Scott, we were both at the game, so I'm not long home, but an hour and a half or so. How are you?
A bit 50-50, Gary. It was baffling, the game. Some of the takes for the game, some of the decisions, and just the way we performed at times. My voice is quite a hoarse when I came in because I was constantly shouting, either at Rangers players or the officials, but you can see with a wee bit of battling is, but I think still at the end of the day, we're a worst own enemy. 100%. I think we are just a lot of issues that happen against Rangers, we cause them. I don't mean with the referees, I mean the chances Celtic were getting. It was baffling to me how it was working at sometimes, but we'll go through the game. It was a game where Gary, I wasn't expecting much of a week, but in the game of the day, I was quite confident. And then the game started and that confidence went from 100 to 0.
And I think what we'll do is I see some comments already, but we'll probably just try and go through it as much as we can and be as logical as without getting irate where we possibly can. So I suppose the first thing to talk about, Scott, would be the team lineup. So in terms of team lineup, we had Butland in goals, Tav at right wing back, Giga, Suter, and Cornelius as three centre halves, and Magoma at left wing back. Middle of the park was Raskin and Dio, and then two number 10s in Asgard and Danilo behind Chermiti. So in terms of team lineup, it wasn't far off what you'd expect. There's maybe one or two positions you'd maybe debate, and we'll certainly debate as the game went on whether some of these guys should be playing. But the team lineup was maybe the big two ones was possibly around Gassama, whether Miovski starts instead of Chermiti, whether Mikey Moore should have started after his last couple of performances. But other than that, there wasn't huge amounts of change in terms of the team, or consternation in terms of team lineup.
No, I think he was going to go with a 3 or the 5, if you want to say, but sometimes if I think people walking into formations and tactics too much, I just think the way we've set up was okay, but some of the players still don't look comfortable in certain areas of the park. I don't think Danilo looks comfortable getting it wide or far back. I think he's better just putting off somebody. Asgard didn't look comfortable at all for me, and I thought the wing backs were poor. I thought defensively they were trying to press, but they just overcompensated. They make Celtic make these options and just long balls and we're getting cut out constantly.
So I suppose the game starts and we're probably pretty passive. I thought the first 10, 15 minutes, I think more than anything else. Scott's on his iPhone, so just in case it falls down and collapses while he's trying to talk. First 10, 15 minutes, we were pretty passive. I think Celtic had a lot of the ball. As you say, we were probably struggling to get into the game. I suppose the first one I'll pick up on is Giga started like a bomb scare. Continues the rest of the time he was on the park like a bomb scare, but he looked nervous, and that probably transmitted across the whole 11 in some ways.
Yeah, I don't know. Big Giga, and he came in, he looked decent for a few games, and then he fell off, and I was saying don't play him again. He's pointless, he's useless, he hides, and then against Habs I said he actually looked okay, and you're thinking it's a big game for him. And a couple of times he was okay. One he tracked back and got a good tackle in, but his decision making, his positional sense, but on the ball, you're actually nervous when he gets the ball at his feet. You don't know what he's going to do. Sometimes he'll pass forward, you think that's decent. Or he goes sideways, or he takes a couple of touches, or he just goes to try and trap it, and the ball goes by him. And every time it comes to him, you just don't know what to expect. And I think Celtic seen that quite early on and they targeted him, Gary. Most of
Nah.
the game it was going down his side.
I think that was it. Do you know, my daughter said to me, we were walking up the road, you know, one of the things that I noticed all game actually about Giga, and I'm not want to pick on him fully because we'll do lots of other discussions, but one of the things that jumped out was the amount of times the ball was played over the top of him. I mean, you could header it, but he kind of jogs back rather than actually trying to get into position, rather than trying to actually command for a guy his size and his strength.
He doesn't really like to intercept, you know. He always lets the ball bounce. As soon as that happens, he's giving the advantage to the striker or the winger because the ball's bouncing, so they're going to anticipate it. Whereas you see a couple of times you thought just run over and hit that either out of play or whatever, but he doesn't. He doesn't. His positional sense of play doesn't. I don't know. He just struggles, and for a big guy that size, you think we need better from you.
Definitely. Welcome, Cameron. How are we?
How you doing, fellas? You good?
Not good. I wouldn't go as far as good, but we're here.
Yeah, not great, is it?
That's not. We've literally just started talking about the game, so I'll maybe come to your thoughts. So we're talking briefly about the team lineup there. I mean, there was a couple of, I suppose, minor debates around whether Gassama should have started, Mikey Moore should have started, Miovski instead of Chermiti, but whether Giga should have started. But in terms of the team lineup, particularly satisfied, no major issues.
I suppose I was a bit surprised. I was surprised that Giga starting, to be honest. I think the boy's a bit of a bomb scare. I personally would have gone with Tav as the right centre half and then have Gassama at right wing back. I think that just gives you a bit more of an attacking outlet and a bit more pacing behind. I was surprised at Danilo starting. To be honest, I'd have thought that this was a type of game for Miovski because he'll have space to run into. And he does seem to have a decent record against Celtic. So I was surprised at that, to be honest. And that was a bit of a shock to me. And I'm always gutted when Bayrami doesn't get in the squad because I think he does seem to do well against Celtic and he always causes them problems. Yeah. So Asgard starting as a 10, I just think sometimes maybe you need to go with a bit more of a compact midfield against them. Because early stages, we definitely did get overrun in midfield massively because they were very direct in their play, which had an effect.
So we'll just talk about that. So the first 15 minutes, as I say, we looked nervous. We were kind of shuttling about, not really picking up MD, and they were getting a lot of space. They were playing, as you said, they were playing quite direct. They were getting the opportunities. They have a goal disallowed, which was comical. And they're talking about Giga, the ball comes across. And Giga kicks it off Raskin into the back of the net, which was summed up to me, his ability when the ball comes in near him more often than not.
Yeah, I get he's a young player, but he's very rushed in everything that he does. I mean, I know against Hibs he made a very good recovery tackle, but he just always looks like he's got a mistake in him. He's got a bit of rashness to him. And that's what we saw today with the disallowed goal. Like you say, it was comical what happened. And I think it just shows maybe the lack of depth that we have, particularly now that we've switched to playing with a 5 at the back, we're now having to play 3 centre halves instead of 2, which I think shows the lack of depth that we've got there. Because I think, to be honest, I'd rather have a right back in Tav starting over Giga. And I think that's saying something considering that he's supposedly worth 10 million. So
it's quite frightening that he's a Red Star Belgrade, played a national player, signed for 10 million with Wolves, but it doesn't look any better than most journeyman SPL defenders. I think he lets the ball come down, so it's making a lot of noise in the background there as he drops something. Is that easier? So obviously that goal comes and goes, disallowed for offside. It's very lucky, to be honest. It's a toenail, but it is offside. That's them the lines, as they say. So we get a bit of a break there, I think. And bear in mind, for those that are watching tonight, I can't necessarily remember all incidents chronologically because we're just back from the game. But if I remember rightly, we then have a great chance whereby Chermiti goes through and ball's cut back to Chermiti and they should score. That's it by the post. Scott?
Yeah, I mean, when I was sitting, it looked easy to score, but thing is, I was saying to a guy next to me, I said, even if he leaves it, there's a chance that it's going to go in because Michael doesn't know where he's going. Do you know that way? And he's already committed himself. But you've got to be taking any chances, Gary. And I know I've criticised him, and I know I've said the fees not on him and the different variations, but I don't know if we've got time to wait a year, 2 years for this guy to come good, because up front we're awful. To be honest with you, we've spent money in Danilo, Chamiti, Miovski, and to be honest with you, none of the three of them you would put your hat on to score. And Danilo looks the best chance at the moment, as because he looks more like a culture finisher than the other two, but we're really poor for money spent up top. And if you can't score goals, you're going to struggle to win games, and that's our problem. I mean, just how many chances we missed today, Gary. I know they had a lot, but we missed some really, really good chances.
I think it was 4 times 1-1, I think, in some, and we'll come back to some of them. So then, and to be fair to Chamiti, as you say, I think Miovski and Danilo aren't particularly good either. So I mean, you could play any of the three, and none of them are doing particularly well. Danilo's also scored a couple of decent goals, but his all-round game and anonymous within any game he plays doesn't.
I would have took Chamiti off the day before I would take Danilo off. I have to say, I didn't think Chamiti was doing anything. I thought he was poor. I thought he was really, really poor.
It could be either, to be honest. I thought they were both really, really poor. I didn't think either of them had done much.
So we kept him on for his height of set pieces, which we can't defend anyway. So even with 3 centre backs.
Actually, to be fair to Chamiti, he won 2 or 3 actually from their corners. He did actually win a few headers. To be fair to him, I'll give him that. And just he can't header, and he's the other side when he's towards goal. So a couple of, I think, a short while later, they score. Cameron, ball comes in, corner kick, and is a header from, I think, Johnny Kenny. So I've only watched this back in my phone, since I got back in, and I think it is Magoma and Raskin probably he jumps to beat.
Well, Raskin's just there to cover the zone, isn't he? He's just there to cover the front post. He's not necessarily tracking a man. It's Magoma, whose man it is. So the kind of the argument needs to be had of either Magoma needs to stick with him and get goal side and jump up when the header, because I don't think Magoma jumps, or he needs to pass him on to Raskin. So I think that was planned. I think they planned to target that front post. To be honest. I mean, we were dreadful all game defending set pieces, to be honest. There was no aggression. I definitely thought that was a factor in everything that we did in that first 30 minutes. There was no aggression in anything that we did. We were very timid. We were very passive. We kind of let things happen. And I think that was maybe nerves settling in, maybe a lack of leadership in the group. But yeah, it's definitely Magoma, and he should be chewed out for that in a game like that, where you just lose your man. And it doesn't even jump with a header. Doesn't even jump.
It's not the first time, Cameron, we've lost that similar set piece thing. Was it in Bran? We done the same. Magoma never picked his man up and Raskin used just there for cover, and it was exactly the same. And it's the way we seem to line up.
But he's also weak defensively. I mean, Magoma, it's been noticed all season. He's pretty weak defensively.
But you watch a set piece, you carry a line up like that the same way. And the teams can see it once or twice happening with Magoma, and they're going to target him, they're going to put something on him, and it's.
But this is the thing. We talk about recruitment. You bring in a 19-year-old lad who wasn't really playing at Preston last season from Brentford. Physically, he's not going to be up to scratch. This is where I was saying maybe you need to look at just taking him out and just saying build up your physicality and your aggression, because playing him in these games is doing him a disservice, because he will have never. He might learn a lot from it, but in terms of the immediate short-term impact, it's not going to be great for us. Because he's going to be an easy target.
I've done okay at points today where you get by. I think I Celtic caught up with us a few times, but every time he did towards him, he kind of shit himself, didn't he? He was getting a ball with earlier, trying to nail that cross because he does run it full arm.
Yeah, I don't think he's a great 1v1 defender. I don't think he is. I don't think he's
he has a line back in defensively. He's not great, but when you get 3 centre backs, you want him to push forward, and he's okay going forward, but going back your way, he struggles.
Yeah, because I think his strengths lie going further forward, and I think that's unfortunately in terms of our recruitment, this has been a theme with nearly every fullback that we've signed. They've got a lot more going forward than they do defensively, and I think that's a big problem. We've had that with Tav for years. Yeah, we had that with Borna, we had that with Jeffy, we had that with Ridvan. It's really only Dujon Sterling who kind of offers anything defensively and next to nothing going forward.
So. We then, and I can't remember the timing of this, so you need to tell me if I'm wrong, either of you. So we then have another 1-0 down, still not playing well, particularly not really getting a hold of the game. We then have another chance, and I think there's a cross from Tav, Chamiti at the back post. Now, from where I'm looking at it, at the West Stand, you're thinking that's in the back of the net. Then next thing you know, there's nothing happened. So it looked to me like it was easier to score than it was to I don't know what he done. Must hit it with his foot or something. Cameron, maybe.
I said it last week. He's not a goal scoring striker, which is a big problem.
No.
He's not a goal scoring
He
striker.
didn't want to go over his head, didn't he? No, and he didn't want to take it for time a shot, and he took a touch, and as soon as he took a touch, he closed down very quickly.
Did he take a touch? Did he not hit it first time?
No.
No, he took a touch.
No, yeah. I mean, this is the thing where top strikers have an instinct, don't they? You watch players like Harry Kane; they've got an instinct. I know Harry Kane's a different class than what we'll ever be able to afford, but they've got an instinct about them. They'll hit it first time. They'll know when to take a touch with what part of the body to go with. And Chimiti doesn't have that. What he is the type of striker that we saw on Wednesday, where he'll hold up the ball and he'll bring other players into play. He's not going to get you goals. It's just not going to happen with him. And we've got a genuine problem where we've got Danilo, who I don't think is that either, where he's going to get you goals. The only player really who I'd fancy us getting a goal is Miofsky. And today was the perfect game to play him in. And he came on when we were down to 10 men, so he was less effective. But I think that's just the problem that we're going to have with Chimiti. I think we're going to get...
You watch this one strikers, but even guys at St Mirren know how to put the ball away, they know how to take the chance, and they're quite confident of going towards the ball, whereas Chimiti's not got that confidence. He doesn't aggressive enough to go and challenge the ball. That ball's in there for a back. He makes a move, he could get it, but he doesn't. He's waiting on the touch, and soon he gets touched. Don't know if it was Ralston's on top of him and they give away a free kick, and you're thinking, go for it, be more aggressive.
But this is
the ball, don't make it coming to you.
Yeah, but I mean, even we'll probably touch on the other stuff, but we had about 4 1v1s today.
Yeah, we
didn't score any of them.
I think that's the thing, and again, correct me if I'm wrong timing wise. I can't remember whether Asgard gets sent off before. No, I think Raskin has a 1-on-1 next, doesn't it?
Yeah,
before.
Raskin has a 1v1 that he bottles. And
why does Raskin not cut it back? But because Chimiti is standing free.
Is it?
He's standing. If Raskin crosses that across, Chimiti's to get that in. But he goes for the shot, and he should have done better. He should have done better, but he keeper saved it. Should have done better. But if he just looks up, Chimiti's there.
I know, but I don't think Chimiti was
demanding it. Ball.
I don't think Chimiti.
Maybe not.
That's the thing with strikers. They demand. If that was Kemar Roof, we've all seen Kemar Roof and his attitude. Kemar Roof would be screaming at him for the ball, absolutely screaming at him, and then he'd be going mental at him that he's not passed it. And that's the type of personalities that we need in this squad, and it's the type of personalities which we don't have in key areas, particularly up front.
I think that's it. I'm sure I watched the Tav's interview actually after the game, and I think he said something about clinical in both boxes, didn't he? And it's that kind of argument about you've got 4 1-on-1s, or you're not defending strong enough when the ball's coming in for there, so you're never going to win games of football that way. And to be fair, I don't want to just make it out as though we had all these chances and Celtic didn't. So Celtic had a couple of chances over that first half hour as well. I think Butland, there was one, I think it's Giga and Suter, I can't remember. The two of them are just standing there, and the guy, is it Kenny, maybe gets in and hits a shot. And there's a couple other moments. I don't remember. Maybe there's a shot that Butland saves kind of to the right-hand side. It should save anyway. So Celtic, obviously, just to be clear, it's not Rangers were creating chance after chance, and we were in the scoring. They had a few chances because that first half hour we weren't playing well at all. But I suppose my point is, even though we're not playing well, you still got to finish those moments when you get those moments, because the games are decided on the odd thing here or there. The first big, the real big talking point starts to come with refereeing decisions. The first one is Asgard sending off Scott. So you're probably quite close to that from where you were sitting. Obviously, he puts the ball over the top of his head and sticks his leg up as he goes for the ball. As soon as he hits him, it's the straight red card in my view. Didn't look particularly a difficult decision, and much as it might not have meant it, much as there might be no malice in it. As soon as you catch somebody there that high, you're going off.
There's no malice in it. He doesn't. But he puts that challenge in. Gary, it's a straight red card every day of the week, and I think he wasn't performing well. And I think when he flicks over his head, he's trying to make a point. He try to do something to appease the fans. He'd have just left it. It was pointless putting over his head, but he didn't. But you can't give him your studs up nowadays. And he does catch the Celtic playing with his Ralston and catches, and as soon as that happens, everybody knows that's a straight red card. I mean, there's really any point that I've heard a couple people saying there's no malice, it should be a yellow. That's a straight red card for me. That's one of the ones you'll see.
That's like punching someone, but then letting off at the last minute and saying, "No, I pulled out at the last second." He's still done it, you know.
Yeah.
So I think that's about half an hour. I can't remember what point that was. So the next 50 minutes, I don't remember an awful lot happening. I might be wrong. I don't remember there been a lot of chances either way. Particularly, it seems to be quite. Seems to kind of slow down the game.
Yeah, there was a lot of pressure from Celtic.
Celtic swamped us. Yeah, they did. First half, Celtic with a far
Yeah.
better
No,
side.
that last 15 minutes, I don't remember much in the way of chances. Unless
No, there wasn't a lot of chances, but they were applying the pressure. They were kind of goading. I think Celtic will see themselves. They were very wasteful today. I think both teams were. I think Celtic more so. Very wasteful.
Celtic seem to be happy to give us possession of the ball because they know they'll fuck up, and we did that. We were the worst anyway. We kept getting the ball away. We were losing the ball, and then they were hitting the long diagonals, the long balls, and we were panicking. And it's not hard football. It's the way they played, and it was effective, and it won the match.
Yeah. So we come towards half time, and then the second big talking point was the Trusty incident. So at the game, obviously, I'm at the West Stand, so I'm behind it to the left, so I don't see it properly. Having watched it back now, the interesting thing for me, I think what Tav's interview says, the referee told him there was no force. I think it's a force. He argues the reason why he shouldn't be sent off. But the interesting thing was when you actually watch it, for some reason he's nowhere near it, but he sticks his leg into him or deliberately puts his foot into him, which I suppose then is not. It's a deliberate act as opposed to we're talking about. So it's whether it's Cameron a deliberate act to kick somebody in the head, despite how much malice.
It's the same argument that you could have for Asgard, where he's pulled out at the last, but the intent's still there.
Trusty doesn't pull out; he sticks his leg in.
That's what I'm saying to you. There's intent, which is the same thing as what Asgard got sent off for. You could argue, or the referee would argue, was intent. He stamped on his head. It's violent conduct.
I do think it's a different. I know I can get me coming from Captain Cameron, but I think it's totally different. I think Asgard's trying to win the ball, but he's never going to win the ball.
Yeah.
It's just stupidity with him. But Trusty knows he's never going to win the ball.
No.
Dalton's got the ball, but he still puts his foot there. And as soon as he does it, he puts his hands up to say, "Oh, I didn't mean that." You did mean it.
No, he did mean it.
Do you know what I mean? And it doesn't matter if it's soft, hard. He still meant it. It's a red card because you can't go and say something like it was only a very soft touch. Bollocks. You still kicked the guy in the head. It's a red card every day week as well. I'm not just saying that. If it happened up the other end, I'd say the same. It's a red card. Goalkeeper's on the control of the ball. Don't kick the guy in the head.
If the goalkeeper's on the floor and for whatever reason his head's facing up at an angle, if the stud goes into his eye, he's going blind in the eye. That's violent. That's dangerous play, and he's meant to do it. He knew what he was doing. He's meant to do it. And how VAR?
I guarantee you, if that was up the other end, the Rangers probably get sent off for that.
Probably, yeah. Probably.
I think it's the issue. I mean, as I say, I've watched it a few times back, and that's the fact that he's, I don't know, 2 yards to the left of Butland, but actually then sticks his leg out after he's already got the ball. It's a different. I can understand when players crash into a goalkeeper because they're running in a straight line. That's fine. That happens. You know, you kick the person that way when you're doing it, but you actually deliberately swing your leg to that side to actually get it. So I did. I mean, I do agree. Don't get me wrong. There's not a lot of force.
Scotty Arfield done that at Tynecastle. He followed through the keeper.
That's one I've seen. That was the one I went right.
But do you know what I mean? And that was a strong challenge. But I'm not saying that's similar. But you can't go and touch the goalie. The goalie had the ball under control. It's in Jack's arms, and you can see he actually moves his foot sideways.
No.
I think it's so the foot's tapping inside of the head, and it's a red card. And I'll guarantee you, if Suter done that up the other end, he's getting his marching orders. Nick Walsh has got a red card out before Suter's even finished touching his head because he knows I'm sending him off.
But will VAR on a coffee break or something when that happened? Because it's half time. You've got plenty of time to take a look at it, and he can even though it's half time, he can still send him off. VAR can still look at that and go, yeah, no, you need to go on to send him off. That's violent play.
It's about bizarre.
Yeah, it doesn't work in Scotland because it's control before they interrupt officials. John Brown's right. It's corruption up here. I think it's 71 games they've went routes and get sending off in the domestic game. I mean, I heard that start. I don't know if it's true. Somebody can tell me if it's true or if it's false, but it's just pure corruption. I'm sorry, but if that happened up the other end of the night, I get a percent of Celtic would be demanding action. But as usual, the Rangers board, Daniel said does they want to talk about it, which to me isn't fine. These are things you have to bring up because every other club, or especially them, will bring that up straight away, and that's all they'll talk about and talk about and talk about. But as usual, we don't. We just say, "Oh, we move on to the next game." Nonsense. How many times are we going to be beat? I'm not saying I'm not saying we win the day, but how many times are we going to lose players in a game of this importance because of a refereeing decision?
Yeah.
It can't keep happening. It's happening every season.
They might go down to 10v10 and we still get beat, and we get beat 4-0, right? And no one's complaining. But again, you can't give one and ignore the other. You just can't.
It's about impact and consequences, isn't it? Is that what referees' terminology use all the time? Impact and consequences. So if the consequences of not officiating right, it's all right. People go all the time, oh, it doesn't matter, we lost the game. It doesn't matter what happened in terms of the referee decisions. They have a material impact on the game. There's a few over the court, the second half as well, that has a material impact on it. Might not have meant the result was right, might not have meant that you got the win you wanted, but you still need to make the right decisions. It's no.
I mean, see, the Asgard one, Gary, he pulled the red card out straight away. No debate, that's a red card, which is fine for me. But the Trusty one, he actually taken himself, what will I do here? And then he's obviously talking in his ear. They're actually scared to make a decision against him. And people can clap that to whatever they want, but they're actually scared to make a decision against Celtic.
Sorry, Cameron, you go.
Yeah, but it just on that one, if we talk about intent, if you make a sliding challenge and your foot is high up in the air and it could break someone's shin, but the player moves out of the way, the referee's still given a red card because it's intent. It doesn't matter how much force is applied. The intent of that tackle was dangerous and worthy of a red card. Going back to the Trusty one, the intent of what he's doing is dangerous play. That precedent should be applied throughout the football pitch at whatever time, and it isn't getting applied at all. It must have been simply because it was half time and he didn't want to make a difficult decision.
No.
It's weak refereeing. It's just weak refereeing.
Yeah, no, definitely. So half time comes and we're obviously quite aggrieved winning the performance. So let's not kid on. The performance in the first half wasn't great. So the performance was poor. The decision, the Trusty one, had obviously ramped up a wee bit of anger and frustration for there. But we come out, Mikey Moore comes on for Danilo, and we switch formation to what was a 4-3-2, I think, with Tav, Dio and Raskin in the middle of the park. Went to Giga, which was quite surprisingly, went to right back, which I would have thought maybe would have been a case for Aarons. And Mikey Moore comes on for Danilo to kind of create that, to be the kind of attacker behind Chermiti. And a massively different start to the intensity, Cameron. There was an intensity, there was drive, there was passion, there was you wouldn't necessarily known that they were down to 10 men at that point in time.
Well, I think that's probably just testament to Rawls' man management and how he's able to get the players going. But it shouldn't take going down to 10 men. To be fair, I think that's quite common. I've seen that quite a lot whenever teams have had a man sent off. For some reason, they seem to rally around when they're down to 10 men. I don't know what that does. I don't know if it's a psychology thing or it's a mentality thing, but it shouldn't take Rangers going down to 10 men to see the mentality shift that we saw. Everything was much more aggressive and direct in everything we did. And there was a bit of belief as well. And it carried on, and we eventually went and got the equaliser. But I don't know what he said to them. Maybe he got some sort of German war cry. Maybe not from one 80 years ago. But, I think it's just testament to the type of guy that he is, that he managed to get the players to believe. Because I believe under Martin, under Clement, under Barry, that team would have crumbled today at halftime, and we'd have been in for a rout 3-4-0. Because we've seen that movie time and time again, where players just bottle it second half. But there needs to be that level of desire in every game that we play, and this team will go on and be successful. But it's just baffling, like you said, it's just baffling. First half, it's all passive, non-aggressive, and the second half, just different team, just one player less. Can't understand it.
What did you think, Cameron? When obviously I was talking about the Giga went to right back, and obviously Tav moved into the middle of the park. I thought it was quite surprising because Giga, he's not a good centre half, never mind the right back.
Yeah, I think maybe because he wanted that bit of leadership in the middle there. I'm not quite sure, to be honest. I wasn't quite sure. I mean, bear in mind we still were very weak down that side. A lot of their play came down there. I'm assuming maybe just put Tav in the middle to try and shore things up. Maybe. I'm not quite sure what the reasoning behind that was. To be fair, I don't really know what his thinking was behind that one, but I just don't think Giga's up to it. To be fair, I just don't think he is.
a rabbit caught in the headlights, some would say, potentially, and was all game. I think you'd say Scotland before. Was it the Brand game, the Came Out game? Was it game you wanted off? You'd think that they never wanted to see him again. It's been a common occurrence. He just looks as though he's not able to handle the pressure that goes with it.
I think Gary, I changed after we went to a 4 because I think the 3 at the back was struggling. I think we're struggling with it. I think if bring backs or 2 up the park, there was space constantly for Celtic plenty. And
It was so narrow. So narrow.
Yeah, they were targeting. I think Mandy was poor again today. I know I'm not going to sit here and say Raskin was better, but I thought Raskin had a better second half. I thought he got forward more. I thought he tried to do more. Well, probably no doubt. I thought Raskin was a far better second half today than Theo done. I thought Tavi in there actually helped Nico get forward a bit more and do more. But I thought Mandy was poor. I know everybody always says he plays well against Celtic. But I thought physicality wise, he was getting out muscled again, done a couple of wee things, but it was constantly losing battles in there. We don't have somebody who's willing to stick their foot in. I don't mean a bad challenge in that. I just mean willing to stick their foot in. I thought McGregor get too much room. I thought Engels get far too much room. And he's not a great player, but I thought he gets too much room. And Celtic are moving the ball about quick, and they knew where to play it into because there was space that we were leaving. So I thought going to the floor at the back, I know we're down to 10, but I thought that actually helped us.
Yeah. Just saying a comment from the Great Showman. It didn't help that Tav and Giga were arguing about who was making space. I noticed that, so I don't know if you noticed it, Scott, but Tav was shouting at Giga constantly, certainly all first half, probably in the second half, just and pointing to where he should be, arguably. When I think there was a lot of frustration.
Yeah, it's like I say, you get frustrated. Obviously, Tavernier's playing the right back, but he's trying to defend, he's trying to get forward, and if you get somebody behind you don't trust, you're caught in two minds. Do I go forward? Do I sit? So there's going to be friction there. And Giga doesn't help matter because a couple of times the ball came to him, like I said, and he tried to trap it to go under his leg, then next minute doing the back stick because Celtic are running players towards you, and Giga's trying to chase a ball in his own half because he can't control it properly. So I said, like Gary, we caught a lot of issues ourselves, but I thought he did change it enough in the second half where we went 2-4. But also the second half, Celtic knew they didn't have to come out and press us as much because they could see we were making errors. And even though we had a good 15 minutes, they could see we were making errors. And the more we push forward with 10 men, there's always going to be space for it to hit in the counter. And they'd get players with a bit of pace. And you've seen it in the second half. With a lot of time, they created a lot of chances. But obviously, we get the equaliser.
Yeah. Just a question on there. So obviously, Barron was missing Cameron through suspension. You know, there'll be a lot of talk, no doubt, and there is some comments already about how we missed him for that tigerish midfield, the way he can cover space and get across the park. Whereas obviously Dio and Dio's a more technical kind of player, and Raskin then, as Scott would argue, was too much left with too much to do covering the ground. So do you think there was a big miss, Barron?
Yes and no. I love Barron, but I do think sometimes he needs to learn to rein it in. I get that's his nature, but I do feel sometimes in these games, if you're too much of a bulldog, especially with the refereeing, you're likely to get sent off. So that's my only worry with Barron in these games is that he'll go flying into a tackle and he'll get himself sent off. So I think in these games, sometimes you don't need to be running around pressing everybody. Sometimes just defend your space, just defend the lines, and be disciplined in where you are on the pitch. So I think, Barron might have been a miss today for his energy. I don't think he'd have made an awful lot of difference. I've got to be honest. I really don't think he'd have made an awful lot of a difference in terms of with the ball. I think what we lack is discipline in the midfield and in the defence. People who know their roles and stick to it. And I think that was Raskin's problem in the first half was he was not disciplined. He went off trying to do several different things instead of his job. And second half, you saw, I think
he did come on, but it's because Asgard is struggling. Daniel was struggling in that position. You've got Theo struggling next to him, so he does too much stuff. I totally agree with you, but when somebody's trying to chase the ball, you're nobody doing it, and Celtic's getting that much of the ball. Some football players take on their own head to go and do it. I'll go and solve this problem, but then you don't realise you're leaving space behind you as well, creating bigger problems.
Yeah,
that's what a lot of footballers do.
Yeah, I understand that, but that comes at a cost. That comes at a cost, and that that Roll. I don't know if he saw that, but if you just leave it and let it happen, maybe Roll can see it and he can do something about it. The danger is if you try and do something about it, it's maybe not.
The second half that was just such an issue because Mike and Moore had such a big impact when they came on. and he
Yeah.
covered these spaces really, really well compared to Asgard and Danilo, because he was getting the ball, he was creating space, he was attacking them, he was even tracking back. Whereas
There's
they two, Asgard especially, and Dio didn't do a lot of that. As
there's
mentioned,
probably
I
that's
thought,
one. You
I
also
said, the
you've
boy was
also went three in the
superb.
middle of the park. You've matched up with three in the middle of the park as well, by putting Taver in the
You
middle of the
did,
park.
aye.
So you then there's no 2 or 3 against 2 all the time. So I'm trying to think the second half in terms of chances. Obviously, Celtic at the bar with Forrest, that's one, and then I think it's Giga's kind of standing there, but it's basically kicks it away, and they've a few other shots. Butler makes a couple of saves, if I remember rightly, and
made one great save. I can't remember what it was, but he made one really, really good save.
Yeah,
one
I
really
think it
good
was
header.
around the hour mark. Yeah.
Yeah.
Around the hour mark. Yeah.
So it's from the header. So we get to about 70 minutes again. There's another chance. In fact, I don't know if you've seen this, Scott. I'm going to pick up this. I can't remember what it was, but is it Gassama goes down the left, or I think, and he's blocked by Ralston. As much of a block it was in the first half, but Nick Walsh doesn't give a foul. I don't know if you can remember that at any point.
Yeah, I don't know why, because he was obviously booked before, wasn't he?
Aye.
For obstruction, and then he done exactly the same when he said play on it. Actually, well, shitting himself. He's like, oops, that's Ralston. If I get a free kick, can't get booked him, and you're doing it to 10 men. Can't be doing that, so he just played on.
Aye. I know, and I thought it was quite a bizarre one, because it was probably more of a body check than the one in the first half that he gave against McGoldman. I don't know if you've seen that, Cameron, when you're watching, if you noticed anything, just caught my eye.
No, I didn't see the body check.
No.
I didn't see that.
Anyway, we then have a chance. Gassama goes through, and for some reason he takes an eternity to hit a shot on his right foot, and then Liam Scales comes back. And I thought it took far too long. Again, 1-on-1 effectively before he lets Liam Scales it back and slide in and put the ball out for a corner.
You think if he cuts it back to his left?
He's right footed. Why would he cut it back to his left? He's right footed.
But as soon as he takes that touch right through Scales and top him, unless he's going to take it for, I thought he waited too long. But if he cuts back to his left, he takes it to defender away.
Sorry.
If
he cuts back to his left,
Scales has already committed himself. He takes him away. That was a great tackle to be fair to Scales, I have to say. It's a great tackle.
No, it was,
but
but
it's a great tackle. You want your defenders to do it, to be honest with you.
Scales shouldn't have been allowed to get back against Gassama with his pace, but to be fair, when you're running.
No, he shouldn't have.
So that was a couple of minutes before I think we get the penalty, and there's a bit of debate about the penalty. Right? So I suppose I've watched this a few times. I understand it's soft in the sense that he's not deliberately put his arm out. Right? I get that principle, and that whole Michael Stewart, his big argument about it should never be a penalty. I think, as he says, it's not. But as far as I understand it, the rules are if it's your leaning hand that hits the ball, it maybe doesn't count. Whereas if it's your other arm that stops a goal bound shot, and somebody can tell me if I'm wrong, it's a penalty and probably a yellow card. It used to be, and I don't know if the rules have changed around that, Cameron.
I don't know what the rules are, mate. Because I just think they're overcomplicating it. It's a penalty in today's game, isn't it? If we're screaming for it. If it's down the other end, it probably gets given, and they're demanding it. So yeah, it's a penalty in today's game. I just wish that it was back the days when it was much more simpler, where if it was a blatant handball, then it's given. But I think this is just the reality of they're just overcomplicating the rules. They keep changing them all the time. I'm not clear on what's a yellow card offence with a handball. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's a foul. It's in the penalty area. He's on a yellow card. He's had multiple fouls. At what point do you go, right, you've had enough chances now?
Stopping a goal bound shot as well. I mean, that's
there you go then. So it's on target. He's potentially stopped a goal with his hand. Yellow card then. If he gives away a foul and it's goal scoring opportunity, it's probably a yellow card, isn't it?
I would have thought so, Scott. I don't know. Your thoughts
Defenders
on that?
On the dark, Gary. I think it's a yellow card. I think it's a penalty. Defenders on the dark. They go down. You see it. I'm just talking about Ralston. I'm talking about defenders in general. You see it before when their shots come. They go down on the floor, but they tuck their arms on because they've got it in their head. But that's more than it's happening side. But you're throwing your body in front of a ball. If it comes off your back, your leg, your chest, that's fine. But if it comes off your arm, you're causing that because you're deliberately throwing your body in there. So to me, it's a penalty. To me, it's a yellow card. And again, the referee shot himself. He gave the penalty. I don't even want to give a penalty because he took an eternity to give it, didn't he? And then he gave it, and then.
See when he shouts over Tav, you're thinking he's not going to give this, isn't it? He's overturning it.
And then you think to yourself, is he going to book him? But no, he doesn't.
You just reach a point with referees, especially in Scotland, where when they're refereeing Rangers Celtic games, you might as well just get a foreign ref in. You might as well just get a foreign ref.
See, the thing is, Caroline, see that point, Celtic fans were constantly going about that years ago. Bring in foreign refs, Rangers get every decision, blah, blah, blah. But now they've got referees in their pocket. They wouldn't want to bring in foreign refs, they wouldn't have it. Why would they? And they've got SFA team up there. I mean, they've got all the referees they like. Why would they bring in foreign refs now?
Yeah, I think at this point the club need to kick up a stink.
I think on that, do you know, there is a bit.
Don't hold your breath, man. Don't hold your breath.
No, but they need to.
There is something out with Patrick Stewart at the recent fans forum thing, or that he did talk about how they've been compiling a whole suite of information. They're not doing it, obviously, in public necessarily, but they're doing it, and they're going to the referees with a whole list of inconsistency, I think was the words they used over the course of the season so far. So it's each one as they kind of show where the mistakes have been made, and there's been numerous to say the least. And there's numerous for other games. It's not just that. There's, I mean, obviously we talked in Friday night's pod about the game last week. What one was it? The one that was it was a Hearts and Hearts one, which was a bonkers decision when so it's not as if it's just for one team all the time, but there's just so many inconsistencies with the decisions. But on that, I mean, I suppose just that we are.
I get that, Gary. It's so many inconsistent decisions, but all these inconsistent decisions never really go against a certain team, there.
Yeah,
and if they do, they've done it all right. They've done the one that has the ball out, but how much did they have to apologise? And then that referee or whoever was involved hasn't really done a Celtic game since, by all accounts. Something again, I could be wrong, but they seem to get. That's just my opinion, but I think they get refereed. And other teams in Scotland get refereed to a different standard than other certain teams do. And that's just my opinion. I'm not saying that's the reason we lost, but I feel when any decisions that happen in the park, we're never at the end of it. We're always at the end of the unfair ones. And not all the time against other teams, they might say we get the fair, we get decisions, and that's fair enough. But no, for them games, we all seem to be in the bad end of things.
Well, do you remember Gerrard years ago at Livy when Morelos got fouled, and it should have been a penalty? It was a blatant penalty, and John Beaton didn't give it because Morelos had a reputation of diving. And it's like, it doesn't matter. Player reputation does not come into it. Yeah. If it looks like a foul, it's a foul.
No,
and this is the problem that we've got. Is that I think referees have got misconceptions about teams, and they're making decisions based on reputation and based on opinions rather than fact, which is what they see there and then on the pitch.
Yeah.
You can't even say who's the worst referee in Scotland, because I think you could put about 5 or 6 different names to that.
But you look at you know, we just mentioned about all the decisions that they've got wrong throughout the league this season. Never mind just today. It's just what, loss of a better word, shite. Utter dreadful referee, and there's no other way to say it. And when it's the same team again and again and again this season, that where these decisions are going against, it's hard. I don't really buy into the corruption talk, mainly because I'm down in England, so I'm not as close to it as you guys are. But it does make you question the integrity of officials when it's the same team every week that are on the receiving end of these poor decisions.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't buy into corruption normally either. I think its quality is really poor. I think the decision making is really poor. I think I do think there's probably, as you say, one team that gets a less balanced approach than others, whether that's corruption or whether it's just bad refereeing or the way that they don't want to challenge some of those things. But however, we get the penalty, so we kind of argue we got a penalty. Whether it should be sent off, I think there should have been. And Tav steps up and a really good penalty. You know, a lot of pressure. 8th minute in a game, good penalty into the corner, and it's one each. Scott.
Yeah, it was a good penalty, and I was jumping a bit mad and something stuck the elbow in my ear. My ear was stinging for the next 30 minutes. But apart from that, I was happy we scored, because we I'm not saying we deserved to get the credit, but we kept going, we kept trying, and that's all we wanted to see was effort. And we can criticise them in the first half, we can criticise some of these players because I don't think some are good enough. But in the second half, we did dig in, and we got a wee bit of luck eventually. Tav took it really well, I have to say, took it really well. And I thought the second half, he actually played a wee bit better than he did in the first half. So I have to say, good penalty, and he kept going to the end, Tav. So he did, he kept going to the end.
So by that point, it's obviously one each, 10 minutes to go in normal time. We've made a few subs, I think, by that point. Aaron's, I think, I'm trying to remember who comes on at what point. Miovski's come on for Chimite. Aaron's may have come on by that. I can't remember if he comes on there or a wee bit later. And we have also, who else come on? Diamandis went off.
Diamandi came off. Yeah, Diamandi came off and who came on?
Man, come on down.
Man, come on.
Man,
come
yeah.
on. So we last 10 minutes, to be fair, Celtic are pinning us back, trying to get that winner in normal time. We are struggling. We can't really get out. Not really creating enough a lot again, I don't think, but there's lots of possession around our box. And we get to the extra time, which, to be fair, given how poor we've been in the first half, given the fact we're down to 10 men, it probably does. They probably do deserve a bit of credit for that, Cameron, in terms of that spirit. I think I said literally before the penalty was given that it's a spirited performance in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching it and I was actually quite optimistic that we were going to get a goal, and even said to you, keep the faith, because I know, Scott, I know you were not very optimistic about that, but I just felt that if we kept going, because we were creating chances, and I knew we'd get chances against Celtic, and if you just keep knocking at the door, you're bound to get something, and we get a penalty, and he scores it, and I know Tav gets a lot of stick, but today I think he really, I really admired him today, the way he just dug himself in for the team.
Yeah. No, I admired him every game. Don't Scott, you tell me. But you know, to be fair, I mean, he played.
Gary starts with that song every week.
No, do you know he played? It was good to hear today. But he played right wing back, right midfield, central midfield, and centre back over the course of the game. And it's a sad day when you get a 34-year-old. It's the one that's having to give everything they've got beyond some of the other players around about you. That says more maybe sometimes about the quality of the rest of the team than it does about that particular individual. So anyway, we get to extra time.
That's when that man came on for asking if that extra time, wasn't it?
So was that man came on for asking?
Yeah.
And I think by that point, I'm assuming that was a booking, because again, you basically went with Tav as a one central midfielder, which may help lend itself to when we then lose a goal a couple of minutes into the extra time.
Asking was on a booking, but I think he just thought the best form of defence is attack, and I think I'll give him a bit of credit for that, but it did leave us open at times. But we still created a few things, but it did leave us open, especially in transition. I thought every time we lost the ball, they were just breaking on us.
There's only so much he can do, really. I mean, he's in not an unwinnable position, really, because if he just sits back and tries to stay compact and we concede, then you're just compounding yourself to defeat. Whereas he kind of has really no option but to try and win the game and try and get a goal.
Yeah,
because it's what you're there to win a game of football, and it's not a league game. You can't get a point and just go, well, it's a good point. It's a cup game. There's a winner and a loser. You've got to go for it.
At least potentially. I'll just pick up on a couple of comments. So David had said here, Mikey Moore looked good when he came on. So there's no real instance at Mikey Moore, or maybe there is. Is it when he's least straight to Gassama? But he had a really good second half when he came on, Mike, or good 75 minutes or whatever it may be. Scott?
Yeah, Gary, he's given like a kind of, it's like a free rolls government. It's not like he's not should box him into a position and say stay there. He's left, he's right, he's creating, and he runs out players, and he seems to be enjoying his football again, and he's shown us the talent everybody says he has, whereas in the rest of Martin, I think he was frustrated. I think he was being told to do stuff he didn't really wasn't comfortable doing, and you can see the boys get talent, and I'm enjoying his performances. I know we need better results at times, but if he can give us that every week, I'll be happy, because at the end of the day, I know he's not a player and we're developing for Spurs, but it's good to watch. He is an exciting footballer when he's on his game.
So 3 minutes in, sadly, into extra time, and Jack Butland, who played well all game, had a good and at times, so me and Scott are at the game, right? So we were looking at it, and I thought it was a great strike. Where I'm sitting, I thought it was a great strike. There's nothing I could do about it. Some of the Scots in the North Stand thinking the same thing. I've seen it back numerous times, and I don't know what he does. He just lets it go right. I don't know why he dives. So he stands up straight.
Does he dive by it?
He dives past it, I think, Cameron. I
think Cameron would have saved that.
Mate, that is Jack Butland summed up in one. That game today. That's why his career really has never hit the heights that it should have done. Because in these big games, he is capable of those types of things. I don't know what's gone on. I don't know what's gone on in his head. He should save it. He should catch it.
Just stand there.
Just stand there. Just be big. I don't know whether he's trying to make it look good for the cameras or he's not seen it too late. I don't know. He should save it. He should absolutely save it. But again, this is just the problem with Jack Butland. He's a fantastic goalkeeper when he wants to be. But he's always capable of these things, and he's kind of proven it in his time with us that he can pull off unbelievable saves like we've seen today. But when it comes to these basic ones that you should save, they just seem to go in. And that really put us on the back foot, because we had a lot. I think there was a lot of optimism that we could actually maybe get to penalties and we got a chance of winning this.
Aye.
And then when you just can't do that. And just from that point on, the team was just deflated. I think you could see that the heads just went down, because you just thought, Jesus, right, here we go. And that's the problem. If he saves that and it stays at 1-1 and you get into that last 15 minutes, you've got a chance. You might even nick a winner. But it's hard.
I agree. I think that goal going in, the crowd were deflated, the players were deflated, and I was like you, Gary. McGregor struck it. I was like, that was a great strike, to be fair, but I thought, no, he's no chance. But watching it since I came in, I thought he dived by it and he dived through it, whatever, but he should be saving it. Even stand still and just punch over the bar, but I don't know, it was poor, very poor. And then he had a decent game as well.
Yeah, I mean, even we talk about aggression again. Who's throwing their body in front of it?
Well, there's a couple of comments in here.
Yeah.
I need to watch again. Does Suter duck out the way? I'm not really sure.
Do you think he's ducking out the way if he plays for Scotland? I don't think so.
Well, John Suter loves a block. It's not like him. To be fair, he's at many faults, but normally he does like.
You know, I always remember Andy Halliday's. I think it was at Ibrox when he played for us, and he just threw himself in front of it, and you know, people marauded it for ages. But that was the last time I can remember a Rangers player throwing themselves in front of a ball against a Celtic.
You're not getting a midfielders there in the park, so you're nobody sitting in that space of the park that could maybe charge it down.
Even a centre half, someone just sprint, put him under pressure, just make it scream.
No, I agree with you. It's far too much time and space, McGregor.
Yeah,
just scream at him.
That was one thing that I always said to whoever I play with. Whenever you're running out someone, scream at them. Let them shit themselves.
But at the end of the day, Butland should save it. They'll point, and I suppose, unfortunately, for Jack Butland in a number of big games, like I can think of a Celtic Cup final, he cost us that potentially. Despite it doesn't matter if you're a keeper of a good game. If you make a mistake, then there's a big impact on the game. You are rightly criticised as well. Unfortunately, that's their job to keep the ball at the net. Sadly, and so from there, but I mean, I think 5 minutes later, Gassama. I think it's a great ball actually for Miovski. Miovski plays a great ball through. Gassama goes clean through. I watched Tav. Tav actually says what he should have went down, because he does get clipped and then but stays on his feet, and then obviously hits the keeper. By the time he actually gets, Schmeichel's quite close to him, and he actually gets it. Scott, I don't know, you're nodding your head there. I think I've watched the highlights again.
I agree with you. I thought he should have been down, and even that game I said he should have been there. To be honest, he's trying to stay on his feet, whereas he's being clipped. As soon as he gets clipped, just go down, man. Make a referee make a decision, but you never. He's trying to, I mean, misses another 1-1, didn't we? And we've missed too many over the piece. We missed far too many 1-1 chances.
And Cameron, if he does go down, it's a red card, because it's a clear goal scoring opportunity. You know, I know he's already been booked, but again, it's another decision making, I suppose, from a Rangers player. I mean, I think by the time he actually gets through, Michael's probably too close to him.
Yeah, it's simple, isn't it? I mean, you know, as fans, we loathe it when we see players rolling about the ground, screaming in agony because of the faintest touch. But it works. It absolutely works. You need to be streetwise in these games. You feel a clip, go down, and roll about in agony like you've been shot. You'll get a penalty. You'll get sent off. If it's just stupid. I mean, that's a lack of seniority in the team. If that's Dessers, he's probably going down. If it's Danilo, he's probably going down. If you've got Ant-Man, probably, because I think he's probably what, 25, 26, he's probably going down. It's too, like I said, it's too honest. You should be horrible to play against. Every team that you play against, you've got, oh Jesus, I can't bother playing against these. They roll about all the time. That's what we should be like as a team.
Yeah.
Make the referees think, get in the reds, and just say any touch and I'm going down. Because you'll get that extra half yard of space, because people won't want to tackle you then. Simple as.
And that's the thing. At the end of the day, impeded him to trying to get through and goal, and he should have went down. But he still missed. He still had a chance to score and missed. So that you can't also give him credit for that. I think we then have another chance, Cameron. And again, at the game, it's opposite side for me. But Miovski seems to hesitate and then gets the ball and maybe runs away from goal. Is that right? Or hits the shot. I can't remember what happens, but something.
He should just hit a snapshot. Just hit a snapshot. I don't know why he's trying around him. And also, it's on his weaker foot. Just hit a snapshot. Could go anywhere. It could go anywhere. But when you do something like that, I mean, Schmeichel's no mug. Schmeichel's a good keeper 1v1. He always has been. He takes after his dad. He's a big figure, and he Schmeichel does really well. Just stands him up and forces him wide and just stays big. Doesn't commit. just says to Miovski, "You beat me." Miovski should just hit a snapshot. But again, that's just an issue we've got with strikers, isn't it? We don't have anybody with an instinct to score goals. That's our biggest issue. I know we sold one in.
I also think it's all our strikers are kind of low in confidence. Danilo may not be as low as much because he's scored a couple, but Jamaica is awful. Miovski's low in confidence because he's not been playing a lot of games and he has missed chances. And whereas somebody scores we can make out, maybe takes a snapshot, but Miovski's maybe trying to make sure he gets a chance properly before he hits it.
I think even if they're high on confidence, they're not taking that shot.
I think those strikers potentially.
I don't think they're taking a shot. Whereas I think if you've got, for argument's sake, Suter in that position, I think he's just taking a wild swing.
Mm-hmm.
And not because he's got any particular instinct, but just because he's thinking, "Oh, great, the ball here. I'm how many yards out? I'll just have a crack." That's what he should have done.
Yeah. I know.
Decision making. Just decision
making. It looked like a decent opportunity again. So, and once that goes, the game kind of that's like gone real in some ways. What happens is obviously Celtic get a third goal just to kill the game. It's ball driven across, and I've not really seen it in much detail. Ball driven across, and the guys at the edge of the 6-yard box and taps it in.
Yeah, the game was finished anyway, Gary. In my opinion, 2-1, they knew they were going to hit us in the break, and they were always going to get a third. I think that's the way the game was panning out. And as soon as the third one went in, I just went, "I'm off." I didn't know what to stay at the end. I was fed up at that point, so I just had enough. But I don't even know if it was a mistake by anybody, but they just threw the ball across, and you get a young boy coming in and anticipating, which maybe should get a hold of your strikers and come out and anticipate stuff. That's the problem. We don't anticipate, whereas other teams, strikers who don't cost as much seem to anticipate things, but our strikers don't. I don't know why that is. Just one last thing, Gary, you mentioned it, but how many fouls does Maeda have to make before they get sent off a football park?
I was going to say that to you.
He must have been in double figures at the Gary. He kicks against Theo in the chest, right? And I'm not saying it's similar to Asgard, but he kicks him in the chest. And I know I've seen people say,
I think he
got booked. I'm not sure if that's what he get booked for, but it was just it's just consistency of fouling.
But it always does. It does all the time, foul after foul.
How many fouls does he have to make before he runs behind somebody and pushes him in the back and he goes down, and it's just constant. Yeah, he gets away with it all the time.
It's the thing with referees. If you can't happy, you see it all the time in Europe. If you can't happy, right, book everybody. Don't even give him a foul. Just book everybody. If you're not card happy, then be lenient, but you have to be lenient with everybody. And that means if you're not giving Maeda yellows, then you can't really, you've got to give Asgard the benefit of doubt and say, well, he's pulled out, so it's not a red.
No. It's a consistency, I think, it's Scott says.
I think he booked Engels, Gary, and he went, you see him going like that, boom, 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 boom. It must have been counting off about 5 or 6 challenging. You're thinking, why so many before you're booked? Whereas you're asking in for one.
Cornelius had one.
And he referees like straight away. Yellow card. It's like we're just looking for a bit of fairness, we're looking for a bit of consistency across the board, and everybody's treated the same way. And people might be watching and saying, "So great," but it's no. I'm just looking for a bit of fairness. I don't want to be treated any different from anybody else. That's the way Scottish football is, and I heard the neighbour coming back, Rangers fans for him, and the folk on the panel are saying that's this, it's that. I mean, the referees have got a job to do, they have. But do it properly. Don't do it with your favour on one side constantly.
It should be. You've had one there. I've let you off. You've had another one. Is a yellow. One more, you're off. Don't care what it is. Simple as that.
Maeda, I mean, Maeda's quite cute, and it's just wee shoves and niggles, and it's all these one consistently over and over and over again. And that's not today. That's most Rangers Celtic games. He does that, and he gets away with numerous tackles before any booking comes, and invariably gets one booking at some point in the game, but not nothing beyond that. So no, I'd agree with you, Scott. I do think that it was quite obvious looking at the amount of fouls that he had that at some point in time he was must have been teetering close to a red card. Maybe not with Nick Wilshere, potentially. Who knows?
Well, Nick Wilshere told him, you've another 17 you can do before you get yellow card, before you get red card.
Keep going. So I suppose we get to the end of the game, right? And again, it's another defeat at the end of the day. Nobody will remember any of the incidents. Nobody will remember the fact that it was a spirited 70 minutes performance after being down to 10 men. The result is the result, and we are out of the cup. Celtic are in the final. But I suppose, what's your thoughts, Cameron, then on just your overall thoughts on the game as a whole, then, and where do you see it from there? Is it a poor performance and didn't deserve anything? Is it a spirited performance and there's something to build on, or somewhere in between?
I mean, you can't have a man sent off that early on in the game and expect to get anything from the game. I thought we started poorly, but I think the fact that we were able to rally and come into it second half, I think, to me, shows a lot of improvement from a mentality perspective. I think there's things that Roll will learn from today, to be honest, from that. I don't expect us to see us line up the same way when we play Celtic at Parkhead in a couple of weeks' time. But generally, I'm quite optimistic, amazingly, because I thought second half showed a lot of fight and determination from the players, especially going down to 10 men. I was expecting to be losing 3-4-0 today, and to be able to get it to extra time and get a goal back and have numerous chances to even go ahead in the game, I think was a massive plus. I think can't keep saying this, I get that, but one thing which really impressed me about Rowan in his post-match interview is he's not getting drawn on the refereeing decision, which, as fans, were rightfully screaming about it. But I think from a manager's perspective, it's important to look. You can't control these refereeing decisions. We should put ourselves in a position of a game where you can have honking refereeing decisions and it doesn't affect us because we're 2-3-0 up or we're controlling the game. So I'm still optimistic. I'm still very much on the Danny Roll train. I've been on it for months. I'm not coming off it anytime soon. Hopefully I can be there at the termination point. So I'm looking forward to see how we bounce back from this, and that game against Parkhead. I'd be very intrigued to see how he set up, because I think he'll learn a lot from today about his players and about the way that he sets up against them.
Yeah. And Scott, what about your reflections then after the 120 minutes is done? Then, so where does this put us as a team? We've got work to do in terms of defensively. We're not particularly strong. We've not got strikers that score goals, but Danny Rose.
I think we've got work to do, Gary, every area of the pitch. I don't think we're strong defensively. I don't think we're that strong now to the part, and I think up front we're powder puff. I don't think Danny Rose at fault for any. I think he needs time. He needs his own players in, but that'll probably not happen because we get the Thelwell family there in Purdy. We constantly buy championship draws, so they're good enough. And buy a striker for £8 million who's up for the gash, and yeah, he's potentially going to be good in a year or 2 seasons. We can't wait that long. And the boys, to me, I can't see anything. I've watched football I'm 53, I've watched football probably 45 years. As I can remember, because you're young, don't really watch it, but it's probably say the last 25 to 30 years I've watched it really intensely, and I've seen a lot of strikers, and Schmitty's lucky if he slept with a striker. The boy's a poor player. He can't hold the ball up. He can't finish. And for that outlay, for us, that's a total shambles. And I still say that deal needs looked into. You can't spend that much money on a striker at Glasgow Rangers and not expect him to score goals, and not expect him to be at least leading your forward line well. So I don't know what Thelwell's seen. So I'm totally back Daniel, but I don't know if Daniel's going to get it right, because I think we lack quality all over that pitch. And I don't know if Daniel will get the support and help from the people behind them, because they've not signed anybody, Gary. Look at all the signings they've made. All their loan signings aren't great. The players they brought in, I think Asgard's a decent footballer, but I don't know if he's suited to our game. I know that's a kind of cop-out for me, but I don't. I think he might be suited more in. Rothwell, like I said, like pulling Pedro's caravan. He come on and look sharp, and then he did nothing. And they gave away the third goal with the pass, and I don't know, Gisama flatter to deceive at times, and you think of a player in another week, you think, oh, I think man seems to have I didn't really know him before he played anyway, but by all accounts he was decent. But he's another one who's flat. I don't really see any improvement at the players we brought in, the money we spent on the players we had. I don't, and Daniel's got a very hard job, but I fully back him, but he needs support, he needs help. But I don't know if Thelwell, Purdy, and his son, Thelwell's son, are the three I would put my money on to say they're going to change it for us.
Yeah. So, Cameron, you put a message in our private chat there saying that Rangers have said they're going to speak to the SFA at the beginning of the week to try and understand and get an explanation as to why Trusty wasn't sent off. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter because the game's done and it doesn't solve anything, but it's certainly worth asking the question, see what comes from it. So,
I think it should be plural, not just one question. Questions. There are multiple questions. Yes.
Yeah. What I would say, they showed some character today. They showed some things. I think what we've just said is a lack of quality in some areas of the park. Now, if you can scrape out results until January, it may give you a chance, certainly, to bring in maybe a defender, at least one, potentially a couple of defenders and a striker that can maybe make that difference across the park. I think there's still things there for taking this season, I suppose, is the point, I think, Cameron.
Yeah, there's definitely things that we can improve on. I mean, one thing that at the end of the day, I think with a lot of these players playing a 5-3-2, especially wing backs, if you're someone like Gassama, Ant-Man, it's probably a very difficult role for them to play. They've probably never really played there before. So I don't really think you're going to see the best of those players playing in those positions. Ant-Man, I don't really know what's happened to him. But I'm hoping that as time goes on, Roll's going to be able to get the best out of this squad, because I do think there's something there, and a few of these players. Granted, I think there's a lot of these players which I can't really understand why we signed them, but I think Roll knows what he's doing, and I think there'll definitely be times where we'll probably look at the team sheet and go, "What on earth is he doing?" And it will just work. It will just work. So time will tell. We'll just have to wait and see. But in terms of Thelwell and Stewart, they're just as disposable as Roll is. I've no doubt about that. So from Thelwell's perspective, he will be under pressure. I bet he is, and I bet he'll have genuine enough to correct that. And if that doesn't go wrong, he'll be gone before the start of the next season, I think.
No, I don't expect to see him by the end of the season unless we perform much better than we have been now. Scott, I don't know if you, as we finish the podcast, you're obviously going away on holiday for a few days, so we won't be on tomorrow night. I don't know if you any final thoughts.
Not really, Gary. I'm just obviously the Roma game I'll be watching in New York, and hopefully we do something in Europe. We need a result, but Roma are playing now, so I don't even know how they're getting on. They're playing away to AC Milan, so hopefully come Thursday we have dropped a few players, and because I think if Roma play like they can play, they might be in for a pacing. So hopefully they don't, and they maybe travel late and we can dig something, because a result in Europe would give a bit of morale boost. But I think that team's just going to give us inconsistent results for the rest of the season. Honestly, I think we're going to go on a wee run and get 1 or 2, 3 victories here, and then when we draw a couple, and then we'll lose a couple. I think that's just the squad mentality we've got. I don't think they're ever going to reach a peak where you think, "Oh, we're going to do something here." I don't think the squad's there. I don't think the quality's there, and I think that's an issue. But for Danny Rule, I think he is at the moment in time. I back him. I think he's the right man. So we should be back on Friday, obviously with yourself, and I don't know if Cam's available, and Ricky when he's back, and hopefully see you all next week after the Dundee game. Maybe hopefully get a result.
Yeah, so that brings us to the end of what has been a disappointing last couple of hours. There's some positives to take in terms of spirit, but results matter, and we are no longer in the Premier Sports Cup. We will be back, as Scott says, on Friday. Scott, have a lovely time in New York, and obviously enjoy your time away, and hopefully by the time you do come back, and I don't know when it is you're back. When are you back for the Dundee game? Are you back on the Sunday, Monday?
No, back on the Monday. So I'll be. If we even move the pod to Tuesday, we could do Tuesday night, and then I'll be back on it unless you're about to do the Monday yourself. So it's up to
you. We will wait to hear, because if the results, obviously, you can hear all about your trips away and what you've been up to. So on that, thank you everybody for watching. It's been, I was going to say cathartic, but it's probably not. But it's not cathartic. It's still disappointing. But at least we've maybe managed to get, for us anyway, get it out of our system. This hour and 10 minutes talking about it, and now we can go about our business and move on to the next game. So thanks everybody. We will see you soon, and enjoy your week.